a lot of Jet fans out here have been taking shots at Zach Wilson because everybody knew him coming to this offense. A Kyle Shanahan offense usually takes 2 years for a quarterback to understand the lingo of this offense. It's a very hard offense to understand. I think Zach's going to be fine. I think he's going to, when he figures it out, you heard what Chad Ochocinco said this weekend about Zach. He thinks he's going to be great. He just needs a little bit of time in this offense to understand the offense. What were your thoughts after last year's draft with Zach Wilson and obviously Trevor Lawrence, both guys that haven't had great seasons, obviously with two rookie coaches? Urban Meyer looks like he's on his leg out of Jacksonville right now, kicking people in the ass. If it's not kickers, it's somebody else, or hanging out with women underage. Who knows?
No.
And then
there's plenty of them in the pool over there.
There goes Earl.
Robert Saleh, who I think is a good coach, still is got to figure out who his players are, what his players are. What were your thoughts to Zach Wilson being drafted and what he's done so far, and Trevor Lawrence and where he's drafted and what he has done so far?
Yeah, with Lawrence, I thought he was the clear-cut number one player in last year's draft and well-deserving of being the first pick based off his track record and how safe of a prospect he was. Like, I just assume like he's going to be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL for the foreseeable future. I still see that happening. Like, with Jacksonville, worst organization. I don't know what they're doing. Like, I don't know why they brought in Urban. I don't know what they've been doing for years. I think it starts with ownership is really the problem there. How did they ever think bringing Urban Meyer and Trent Baalke? And just from the get-go, it was terrible. Urban, outside of Trevor Lawrence, literally only drafted guys he recruited out of high school. Tyson Campbell was a top 10 recruit. He really wanted him, so he took him 33rd. I thought that was a terrible pick. Walker Little, another top 10 recruit. He took him like 45th. He had played like one season of college football as a freshman. He took the guy in the second round. Neither one of them has done anything this season. He took a running back in the first round when he had James Robinson. He still refuses to play James Robinson. Running backs injured for the season, Travis Etienne. It's a mess. I can't put anything on Trevor Lawrence. I loved him coming out. The thing with Zach Wilson that I just never understood was why, the NFL loves big-time school kids. It's why Bama and Clemson and Georgia kids go high. They love big school kids. You have a guy in Justin Fields who fits the measurables. One at Ohio State, like a 5-star recruit coming out, like seemed like the perfect fit to just be second. And this BYU kid who's not the biggest guy in the world, he comes in and lights up a bunch of terrible teams in a COVID season where the best team he faced was Coastal Carolina and he lost against. And it didn't seem like he was that much like, this kid is the second pick and he's going up against guys on Coastal Carolina who they won, but they weren't the best team in the country. So I just, as a prospect, you watched him, he made some holy cow throws. I just didn't on paper. I just didn't see how, he sucked, because I watched the sophomore film and I thought this kid was a clear undrafted, reminded me a lot of Johnny Manziel. Half the time he's chucking up balls 60 yards, throwing it in between two guys for a touchdown. The other half, he's throwing interceptions against San Diego State to guys who are triple covered. And it just didn't make any sense to me. Then he has this awesome season. So I was still worried. Level of competition scared me. His play outside of structure is awesome. Inside, I didn't love it. And do I worry about him? I mean, I didn't love him coming out, so yes. But, you got to give every player time. Like, you can't write someone off so quickly. Things happen. He goes from being at BYU to now he's in New York. Like, it's a huge adjustment for any person. Like, it doesn't matter who you are, if you're a football player or a normal person. He's got to, lead the Jets. You lose Mekhi Becton for the season. Denzel Mims, I don't know what happened there, but he hasn't been like Michael Carter. I like as a running back, but they don't really have this established ground game. He doesn't have an elite weapon to throw to. The tight end position is pretty.
Elijah Moore looks like he's going to be an elite player, but it's still going to take a little while for him to figure out the offense. And you're right, Zach Wilson coming from a small school, but we've seen a lot of quarterbacks, and really in the last 5-6 years. A lot of the great quarterbacks coming from small schools. And we talk about Carson Wentz. He comes from a small school. Josh Allen comes from a small school. Don't come from big-time schools and stuff like that. So we've seen it. Even Jimmy Garoppolo comes from a small town, a small school. So I wasn't worried about where he came from. What I'm worried about is that the fans are pounding on him and hounding on him. Not only him, his family, his mother. And I think it's going to get into his head. And being that he's coming from Utah, he's from a small city, and he's coming to New York, the fans should be behind him so he could figure things out and get his feet wet. And I think they're putting too much pressure on him. And I think this is going to affect him moving forward as a quarterback in New York.
It will. And I just never got the pick. Partly, there's a reason Carson Wentz and Josh Allen, they all went highs. You didn't have someone like Justin Fields in the draft. Not that I'm sitting here like Justin Fields was the guy. I think he could have handled New York better. I really just think it's a tough place to play. I think Zach Wilson could be good. Usually quarterbacks don't play as poorly as he had, and then come up and become phenomenal. As of late, Justin Herbert was pretty good from the get-go. Joe Burrow was pretty good from the start. Tua wasn't. He's kind of turned things around a little bit, but I think we're seeing now Josh Allen even showed more than Zach has as a rookie in a just as bad of a situation. I'm just nervous. The Jets, it seems to be a struggle at quarterback. I think being where they play hurts. In New York City, it's a tough place to play. And he has played really poorly. So, it's not like one of those things where it's like they just haven't won.
Really poorly. He's got no one to throw to. I mean, come on. Corey Davis. I mean,
I'm not
going to
think he's a
star?
And say, I'm sitting here and telling you, I think you got to give the kid time. What I'm sitting here and saying is, the Jets fans won't. So it doesn't matter.
I know, and that's what's sad. That's what's sad about it. You're absolutely right.
No one in 3 years is going to be like, well, you remember the receivers he had to throw to in the offensive line and just, with LaFleur, he needed time to develop. They're not going to say that. Just going to look at his numbers, which haven't been good. And maybe Mac Jones playing in New England and playing well, that's going to contribute to things too.
I don't think it really matters because if you look at Trevor Lawrence's numbers and he has better talent around him, Trevor Lawrence's numbers are just as bad as Zach Wilson's. So I can't really take shots at Zach Wilson and say, hey, you know what? He's had a bad rookie season. Eli Manning, not Eli Manning. Well, Eli Manning didn't have a good rookie season. Either did Peyton. And either did half these quarterbacks that start off going into a big city and a big situation. And that's why I'm not worried about it. I didn't want Zach Wilson. Everybody that knows me, I wanted Justin Fields. That's the guy that I wanted. But I'm not upset to have Zach Wilson. I still believe, a lot of experts believe that Zach Wilson was the best quarterback in this class. Now, what they saw, who knows? But everybody has their thoughts on what these quarterbacks are going to be in the future. The kid could throw. The kid could step in the pocket. He can run. I think he's been very hesitant this year. I think he's been, when he wants to run, you saw him last game. He was running, and then he threw an interception 2 weeks ago. He's running. You think he should be running. He would get 15, 25 yards. And then he runs, and then 5 yards later, he throws the ball at a running back. It hits him in the back, and it's an interception. I mean, it doesn't make sense. I mean, his thought process has not worked. But again, this is not an easy offense to learn. Everybody says that the Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay offense is very difficult to learn, especially as a rookie. So I think fans need to give this kid a little bit more time to understand it.
I'm with you. Trey Lance. He's in a Kyle Shanahan offense. He hasn't played yet.
He looks horrible, by the way. When we did see him, he looks really bad. Okay,
Jimmy G don't.
Well, they brought Trey Lance in because Jimmy G is going to want money, and they don't want to pay him. He's a free agent in 2 years.
Right. So why would you draft a quarterback now?
Because obviously Trey Lance didn't have much of a college career. Moving up, they thought that he fit their offense in Kyle Shanahan's offense. But guess what? Kyle Shanahan might not even be there by the time he takes over. So it doesn't matter.
It's like, the Jets, it's unfortunate, but you look at, I haven't been overly impressed with Justin Fields, who I liked coming out.
No.
I haven't
it's
thought
early.
He's done anything.
It's early.
Trey Lance has really done nothing. I think Mac's done well, but I'm not going to sit here and say Mac Jones is the real deal.
No, he's not.
We're looking at a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. They're sitting at 9
Define
and
real
4.
deal.
Top 5 quarterback in the NFL. He just told you.
No, that's not. That's elite. What is real deal to you?
Top 5, top 7.
So
Like,
so is he going to be an elite quarterback? I don't know, maybe not, but that's what people said about
He's a
Brady
third-tier
too.
quarterback. He's a third-tier quarterback. He
Like,
hasn't
that's
shown.
all you need.
Yeah, that's true, and that's why the Patriots are in a good position because all he has to do is make those 7-8 yard passes. They catch the ball and they have a good running game and a good defense. You can win like that. So he's a competent quarterback and an accurate quarterback. But if you need to put everything on his shoulder, he's not a Zach Wilson. Like, I believe when Zach Wilson figures it out, I think you could put something on his shoulder, make the throw deep. Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields. I thought 3 of those quarterbacks, but I did think that Mac Jones was the third best quarterback off the board. Everybody that knows me has said that. I've seen me and do my picks. I thought Mac Jones was the third best quarterback. I thought it was Lawrence, Wilson, then Mac Jones, then did I pick Justin Fields?
Justin Fields, and then you picked the kid who went to Minnesota.
Yes. Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yes. So, and then I didn't think Mills was going to be any good, but Mills has really impressed me this year for the little bit I've seen him with the Houston Texans. So, very impressed with him, too. So, we don't know what these guys are going to be because it takes 3 years for these quarterbacks to develop.
Situation matters. Matters early. It matters in general. But there's a reason Mac went 15th. I don't think the Patriots outsmarted the league. I think he's come in and he's been pretty solid, but once you have to pay him, like, are we looking at Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr, where, is he going to be able to get to that Dak Prescott, Matthew Stafford, which is a little bit above, or is he going to be Tom Brady? There's a chance he's all of that. Guys have looked good and then fallen off. Guys have looked good and continue to improve. I think, it's early with all of these guys to judge them. Do I think some of them aren't helping themselves? No. I think, Zach's not helping himself out there. He's not doing anything that makes you think, but you just never know. And it takes time. So I think it's early and it's going to be early. It's early with every quarterback. Tua was already written off and, he looks like maybe now he's bouncing back, but then, you just don't know. So I think with quarterbacks, it's just the nature of the position. None of these guys, in terms of talent, are outside of maybe Trevor Lawrence, are worthy of going where they do. Most of these guys are way up. Trey Lance played 1 year of football, not even at the Division I FBS level, at the FCS level, where he was good, but he wasn't first round type talent. He went third overall. He didn't play he played his redshirt freshman season, then didn't play for an entire year outside of one game. They played a game against Central Arkansas where he looked terrible. And then he went third overall. So, with quarterbacks, they're not worthy of where they get drafted. You're hoping you hit on one of them. It's a tough thing. You're putting them in tough situations. Zach Wilson going from playing teams like Houston and Coastal Carolina to teams that he's playing now, it's going to be a little bit of an adjustment. I think for New York, hopefully he can be good because you guys need some good quarterbacks.
I'm not worried about the quarterback position. Jack, thank you for calling in and joining us. Tell the fans how they can follow you on social media.
Yep. Jack_Borowsky on Instagram, Twitter, anywhere. SI.com. Want to find my articles, just search up my name and you'll get all my NFL draft content.